Somehow, I got delivery of the Askar 131F and first light within hours. I wish I could replicate this every time, but first, let's go back in time and open the box. Alright, the 131F is here. This thing is huge. I need to open this on the floor. There's a box in a box. Put that to the side. Let's see. Okay. Ooh-wee, this thing is huge. If I take the telescopes out, I just want to see what's in here with this. So this is the camera adapter and the spacers here. Yeah, these things are huge. Okay. See, unlike the 91F and the 71F that I've seen, so this does not come with like a diagonal and eyepieces. The other two did come with those, which I actually gave away to others because I didn't need those, but it's always nice to have, especially to give away. Holy crap. Okay. So I'm lifting it like this, not because I'm weak, but because this thing is super front heavy, like the triplet glass here. It is heavy. There we go. It has the Los Mandy plates down here. Alrighty, I'm going to take this out. Holy crap. I know it's upside down for you, but my goodness. Okay, putting it back in the ring. Still front heavy. Yeah, this is a workout. Looking at the bottom, I can install an EAF there, the visual back there. Dew shield comes out quite a bit. I'll put this on a mount and then open it back up, but I'm just going to extend the dew shield all the way. I'm going to put it next to my... Alright, that's the 91F. This is the 131F. Huge. The 91F has a mono camera setup right now. So when I actually get first light on this, it'll be without the mono setup because I need this rig to test some other stuff. I will get the guide scope though. You can hear me panting because everything is so heavy. Look at the Askar 120 Apo. You can kind of see these two be side by side. I thought the 120 Apo was big, but now I know that's not the case. The 131F makes my 120 Apo look tiny. It's kind of impressive. I wish I had mounts to run all three at the same time, but I'm actually happy that I get first light with it the first night I have it. So first, let's install it on my mount. I'm actually sweating quite a bit because I had to hold this up to mount this onto my Sal 33 here. And it took a little bit of effort because if you notice, if you look closely, that I actually have an ADM plate here. That's because I'm using an ADM Vixen to Los Mandy style dovetail plate. And that's because the Los Mandy dovetail plate, the D-style dovetail plate that comes with the Askar 131F gets hit by the locking knobs on the Sal 33 saddle. So I can't actually tighten them all the way because it just keeps hitting this and it keeps sliding out. So I luckily had this that I used for my Edge 8 for quite a long time on my CEM 40, which only has a Vixen saddle. It was a much cheaper upgrade than getting the saddle upgraded. And so now I have this here. It's pretty stable, but this does add like another almost 2 kilograms of weight. So on top of that, that's a little, I'm not totally concerned. I do have a counterweight here, and I have a weight on the hammock of the tripod. But looking at this is kind of amazing. It's a giant thing. And we have looking at the visual back here, the focusing knob is super smooth. It has the little cover here still. Let me take that off. We have the fine focuser here. And we can put the visual back here, so I can, or the imaging back here, so I'm going to take this off. So this is the first of the spacers. It's going to go here. And then the final visual back, or the imaging back, is great. And then I have access to M48 threads here where I can attach my camera. I'll use one of my color IMX571 cameras here tonight. And on top of this, I also have the reducer here, the 0.74x reducer. I'm going to assume it's the exact same as the 91F and the 71F, so I'm going to open this up. You take this off. So on the 71F, this splits up into two, and you just take the first one off. But here it looks like, according to the documentation, I take this whole thing off, put that to the side. So I got this. The Askar logo goes into the Askar telescope. So, and it screws into this here, the imaging back. So got it in, it's secure. So now it just goes in here. And then that goes in. So this actually makes the OTA a little bit shorter. The only one thing I'll mention is that putting this in there, I had a little bit of trouble clicking to the threads here. So you might have to try a little bit before, make sure it's flush against it. So make sure it goes in there. But yeah, so tonight when I take this out, if the weather complies, I'm actually not going to use the reducer so that I can take some native focal length images and test with it. If I will do a follow-up video at some point to cover everything else, so including the reducer, so I'll do that then. But right now, I'm gonna take this out and then check my weather and see what's happening. But I will say that having all the camera gear at the bottom has made it a little bit more balanced. So everything is tight. I'm pushing it around. It's not gonna fall in this position. Take the thing off. All in all, everything here is about 13 kilograms. Now to polar align and also to stand here to make sure that this thing does not tip over. Okay, the mountain's doing pretty good. It's not gonna fall over. It's good. Polar alignment was good enough for me, and then I did a manual focus on a star to get it as close to focus as possible before starting the autofocus routine, and the system did not have any trouble at all. All right, so I am connected to my mini PC outside. I'm actually not using the Wanderer as power box today. I did get polar aligned pretty well, but I am going to do a really quick polar alignment here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send my mount home, and then I will unpark it, and then we'll do a quick 3-point polar alignment. But before we do that, I just want to show you that I did do a quick autofocus, and stars look great. The HFR is 2.79, which is expected. For my 91F, it's about 2.2 is good HFR, so 2.79 at native focal length of 983 millimeters is really good. Go to 3-point polar. I already did it with my iOptron iPolar, so I'm just going to do a 3-point polar alignment. Start from current position, do 3 seconds per, and then let's see what the rate is, the error rate. Error rate is 3 arc seconds, so probably could be better, but I'm gonna leave it alone and count on my guiding to do the rest of the work. So for my first image, I decided to frame M81 and M82, and the framing is kind of perfect with the crop sensor camera. Here's what a 2-minute exposure looks like. And I do have a lot of light pollution in the area, especially at the direction I was pointing. My neighbors' lights were on, the porch lights were on, and the seeing conditions early on were not ideal at all, but all in all, not bad. I also pointed it to some globs, including M13 and M92, and then finally to M27, which looked amazing. The globs were 30-second exposures each, and the M27 was 2 minutes with just UV IR cut filter. The guiding on the SAL 33 started poor because of my seeing conditions, but once the conditions improved, I was consistently at around 0.7 arc seconds and sometimes dropping to around 0.5 arc seconds. So I was impressed with the SAL 33. Review on that soon-ish. Analyzing some of the images in ASTAP, the image looks great, and I first do a tilt check, and I know my camera is mostly flat, so I'm really impressed with how good this looks here. Barely any tilt. And now I look at the star roundness throughout the field, and the values are also very consistent throughout the whole field. Again, impressive. And finally, an aberration check here. In color, we can see the stars get kind of bloated. They look kind of weird, but that's an effect of ASTAP's stretching that I did here, and not the image itself. It looks a little bit better undebared, And when we look at the stars on the very edges, we can see that it looks really good all the way to the edge of the crop sensor camera. All in all, I'm very impressed with this telescope so far. First light was last night and it was great, especially after midnight when the sky kind of just cleared up and my guiding was perfect. And many of you have asked me to also review the Askar 111F, which is the medium-sized version that they came out with. And trust me, I tried. I asked Sharpstar Optics if they would consider sending me both. They wouldn't, so I did opt for the 131F just because of aperture fever. But many of the things I told you is probably going to be the same for the 111F, except that one is a little bit faster at, I believe, f6.9 or f7, but it also does come with the reducer. And as mentioned earlier, I do have plans on making a full in-depth video on everything. This first light video turned out to be a lot longer than I expected, but the in-depth video will go into more details on things. Especially if you have questions, let me know below. I'll answer your questions below, but I'll also include them in the video. And hopefully by the next video, I'll also have had a session with the reducer, because I do want to test that out as well and see how it does in f5.5. I'm sure it would be really cool. I would also like to take a second to thank all of my patrons on Patreon, Buy Me a Coffee supporters, and YouTube members here for supporting me through all of my astro adventures. If you'd like to join this list of wonderful people, please consider checking out the links in the description and the pinned comment below. And if you'd like to purchase either this or the 111F or any of the other Askar products, if you'd like to help me out at no cost to you, consider using one of my referral links below as well, where I'll get a small commission if you choose to purchase one of these. This may be the fastest first light video that I've ever done. I don't know how.